There was once a nation so powerful that they looked at the mountains and said,
Who is more powerful and strong than us?
They were the tallest people who ever lived. Buildings so massive that historians and archaeologists are still searching for their ruins today. Armies so formidable that no nation on earth dared challenge them. A civilization so advanced that they carved entire cities out of rock. They had everything, except one thing: humility. And Allah sent them a man, a prophet from among themselves, a man who stood before the greatest physical power the world had ever produced, with no army, no weapons, no political backing, and said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him." They laughed at him. They mocked him. They called him a fool. They said their gods would punish him for abandoning them. And then the wind came. Not a storm, not a flood, not an earthquake. Wind. For 8 days and 7 nights, a wind so violent, so targeted, so precise, that it picked up the bodies of the strongest human beings who ever lived and threw them like hollow palm trunks. And when the 8 days were over, not one of them was left standing. Every single one. Gone. And the man they had mocked, Hazrat Hud, alayhi salam, walked away, safe, untouched. Because when Allah decides, no amount of strength, wealth, or power changes anything. This is the story of the nation of Aad and the prophet they rejected. Before we move to our story, we need your support. Subscribe to Noor Stories for more powerful Islamic stories. The story of Hazrat Hud, alayhi salam, and the nation of Aad appears in the Quran no fewer than 20 times across multiple chapters. And yet, despite being mentioned so many times, the people of Aad are almost completely unknown in popular culture. Their ruins have never been conclusively found. Their civilization left behind almost nothing that survives today. The very totality of their destruction, the completeness with which Allah erased them from the earth, is itself the lesson. They wanted to be remembered forever as the greatest power in history, and Allah made them a footnote. Surah Al-Haqqah 69:6-8. And as for Aad, they were destroyed by a screaming, violent wind, which He imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession. So you would see the people therein fallen as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Then do you see of them any remains? Allah Himself asks the question. This was not an empire that fell slowly. This was an erasure. Let us understand how it happened, and more importantly, why.
Who were the nation of Aad? The people of Aad lived in a region the Quran calls Al-Ahqaf, the curved sand dunes, in what is today the southern Arabian Peninsula, in the region of present-day Yemen and Oman. They were among the earliest civilizations after Nuh alayhi salam. The scholars place them in the generations that came after the Great Flood, descendants of the survivors, inheritors of a world that had been washed clean and given a second chance. And they built something extraordinary, their physical power beyond anything before or after. To understand what this means, imagine a people whose physical stature made ordinary men look like children in comparison. Their strength was proportional to their size. They could move boulders with their bare hands. They carved their homes directly into mountainsides. Surah Al-Shu'ara. Do you construct on every elevation a sign, amusing yourselves, and take for yourselves palaces and fortresses, that you might abide eternally? The nation of Aad were not just physically powerful. They were wealthy beyond measure. The land of Al-Ahqaf was, in their time, extraordinarily fertile. Gardens, rivers, livestock, abundant crops. Allah had given them everything that Nuh's people never had. Their arrogance, the defining quality. The Quran captures their arrogance in a single sentence, one of the most chilling sentences any nation ever spoke. Surah Fussilat 41:15. As for Ad, they were arrogant upon the earth without right and said, "Who is greater than us in strength?" This is the question of a people who have looked around at their world and concluded that they are the pinnacle of creation. That power is the measure of worth, that because no human being could defeat them, and Allah answered their question directly in the very next words. Fussilat 41:15. Did they not consider that Allah, who created them, was greater than them in strength? Who was Hazrat Hud alayhi salam? Into this world of towering pride and absolute self-certainty, Allah sent a man. His name was Hud alayhi salam. And the first thing to understand about Hazrat Hud alayhi salam, he was one of them. He was not a stranger, not a foreign voice. He was from the nation of Aad itself. He knew these people. He grew up among them. He spoke their language, not just literally, but culturally. He understood exactly what they valued and why. Surah Al-Araf 7:65. And to the people of Aad, we sent their brother Hud, their brother, not our prophet or our messenger alone, but their brother. The Quran emphasizes the personal connection deliberately. His message, simple and complete. Hud alayhi salam stood before the greatest civilization of his era and delivered a message that had not changed since Adam alayhi salam. Surah Hud 11:50. O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. You are not but inventors of falsehood. Worship Allah alone. Your gods are fabrications. Your idols are nothing. How did they respond? And the moment it ended, the leaders of Ad had 3 arguments against Hud alayhi salam, and every single one of them was a form of arrogance dressed up as logic. Argument 1, you are mentally unstable. Surah Al-Araf 7:66. Said the eminent ones who disbelieved among his people, indeed we see you in foolishness, and indeed we think you are of the liars. Argument 2, our gods will punish you. Surah Hud 11:54. We only say that some of our gods have possessed you with evil. Argument 3, our ancestors were right. Surah Hud 11:62. They said, O Hud, you have not brought us clear evidence, and we are not ones to leave our gods on your say-so, and we are not believers in you. The final crossing of the line, the cloud years passed. Hud alayhi salam continued calling, the Ad continued rejecting, and then something happened that became the final test. A drought came upon the land of Ad. The rain stopped, the crops failed, the rivers ran low, and as the people looked to the horizon in desperation, they saw a cloud forming. Surah Al-Haqqah 46:24. And when they saw it as a cloud approaching their valleys, they said, this is a cloud bringing us rain, relief. Hud alayhi salam saw the cloud too, and he knew what it was. Surah Al-Haqqah 46:24. Rather, it is that for which you were impatient, a wind wherein is a painful punishment. It was not a rain cloud, it was the wind. The Quran describes what happened next with a precision that is deliberately terrifying. Surah Al-Haqqah 69:6-8. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a screaming, violent wind, which he imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession. So you would see the people therein fallen as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Then do you see of them any remains? 7 nights, 8 days, 168 continuous hours of a wind so powerful, so targeted, so divinely directed that it did not leave a single living member of the nation of Aad standing. What kind of wind was this? The Quran uses multiple words to describe it across different chapters. each one adding a layer of terror. Re-Sarsar, a bitterly cold, screaming wind. Surah Al-Qamar 54:19. Re-Akim, a barren wind that carries no mercy, no rain, no blessing, only destruction. Surah Al-Dariyat 51:41. The wind would pick up a man, the tallest, strongest human being alive, and hurl him through the air like an empty shell. Their size, which they had been so proud of, became their destruction. Their enormous bodies offered more resistance to the wind, and the wind did not care. Surah Al-Qamar 54:20. Uprooting people as if they were trunks of uprooted palm trees. 8 days of total silence. After, when the wind finally stopped, when Allah said enough, what remained? Surah Al-Haqqah 46:25. Destroying everything by command of its Lord, and they became so that nothing was seen of them except their dwellings. The structures outlasted the civilization, the things they were most proud of. Their physical power, their armies, their dominance, vanished overnight. The monuments they built, empty shells preserved as reminders. A ghost civilization, towers with no one inside them, and Hazrat Hud alayhi salam, the man they had called foolish, the man they had threatened, the man they had ignored for years, was still standing. Surah Hud. And when our command came, we saved Hud and those who believed with him by mercy from us, and we saved them from a harsh punishment. When the wind ended and the silence came, Hud alayhi salam and the small group of believers who had stood with him were left on a transformed earth. His mission was complete, not because everyone had believed, but because he had delivered the truth with full sincerity. Where are the people of Aad today? This is one of the most extraordinary geographical mysteries connected to the Quran. In 1992, American satellite imagery of the empty quarter of Arabia, the Rub al-Khali, the largest continuous sand desert in the world, revealed what appeared to be ancient roads and structural foundations buried deep beneath the sand. You have just heard the story of the most powerful nation that ever existed. They had everything we dream of: strength, wealth, land, resources, buildings that touched the sky, bodies that no army could defeat. And Allah erased them in 8 days with air. I want you to think about something. Allah, the one who created you, is greater. In your strength, rely on Allah. In your weakness, rely on Allah. When the blessing is overwhelming, rely on Allah. When the difficulty is crushing, rely on Allah. In your strength, rely on Allah. In your weakness, rely on Allah. When the blessing is overwhelming, rely on Allah. When the difficulty is crushing, rely on Allah. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the greatness of Allah and the fragility of everything else, please share it with one person who needs to hear it today. Subscribe to Noor Stories and press the bell icon. We are building a complete library of authentic Islamic stories, told powerfully, referenced accurately, produced professionally. This channel exists for you, and we have many more stories to tell.